Welcome to Straight to the Point. I'm your host, Representative Joe D'Orsi. In a world of long-windedness, I'm here to deliver you the Capitol News in 10 minutes or less. So, let's get straight to the point. So, welcome to the Straight to the Point podcast. This is Representative Joe D'Orsi, and in studio today I have the Strategic Director of the State of Pennsylvania for the LIBRE Initiative, Jennie Dallas. Thanks for joining me, Jennie.
Thank you for having me.
So we met a couple of years ago, I guess, in my freshman term, and I think the nature of us meeting and beginning to work together was education freedom. Last session, I introduced the Student Freedom Account Act, and this session, I'm reintroducing it. So let's start there. I mean, I'd love to hear, as this conversation progresses, just some interesting facts about the Latino population in Pennsylvania. But let's start with education. Why is school choice so important to you at LIBRE, but more generally the Latino population in Pennsylvania?
Well, first we want to let folks know that LIBRE is here to empower Latinos, to help them use their voices and help them speak with their legislators and go about putting things into action, you know. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about education freedom, this is a big topic because LIBRE has done surveys, and we found that 80% of Latino parents, or Latinos period, are in favor of school choice, education. That's
a big
freedom.
Number,
That
80%.
is a very big number. And personally, I had raised my children as a single mother, and I sent my children to a Christian school, and I had to pay enormous taxes in the city of Harrisburg and pay for the school for them to. So I got acquainted with it at that point, saying, man, it would be really good if I didn't have to pay both of these, because it was a lot of money for me to sacrifice.
And not many parents can manage that, as you know.
Exactly. And I think most people, when you really ask them about it, and I talk to many people about it, it's common sense that we want to just be able to have the best education for our children. Everyone wants the best education for their children. They're our next generation, and if someone chooses to say to go to a public school, that's their choice. If they choose to go to a Christian school, that's their choice, or whatever is best for their child. And we should not be having our children categorized by zip codes.
Right.
And so that is our focus, to make sure that our community is able to use their voices when it comes to education freedom.
Yeah. It's interesting. I talk about this topic often is we have all of these innovative technological tools. It's 2025. And yet, in the education space, we're bound by a system that's been in place since the 1930s. And that kind of innovation and flexibility and technology that you see in some of the other spheres, business, industry, is not applied to education, and it just does not make sense to me.
Correct. And I feel at this point, it's not time to sit back. It's time to put our foot on the gas.
Yep.
And start to, raise our voices about this. This is our children.
Yep.
This is our children that we're talking about, and many people want better for our communities, but they don't want to make the changes that will make it better. Mm-hmm. And this is a change that will make it better. If the child can learn at their own pace, or learn, the way that they want to learn, or what their parents want them to learn, then we'll just be better people in the future. So we're not gonna back down from this.
So you shared with me some stats about the sheer number of Latinos in the Commonwealth and the percentage of businesses that are owned by Latinos. Can you give us some of the numbers here?
Yes. So we have 1 million, a little over 1 million Latinos altogether in Pennsylvania. That's just per the census.
And there's total of, I think, 12.8 million people in the Commonwealth.
Correct.
At large.
Correct. So, and we're growing so exponentially. But 1 in 4 business in the nation are owned by Latinos businesses. In Pennsylvania, we're estimating that to be about 14% of the businesses in Pennsylvania. So we're focused, LIBRE is focused on meeting our business owners, finding out what are the barriers to growth, what is hindering your business, what's holding you back, or even the public at large, how to open your own business, what's holding you back, what are the regulations that are holding you back. So we're focused there, and giving them an opportunity just that they know they don't have to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
They can do something about it. They can come speak at a hearing. They can show up at the state capitol. They can sign our petitions.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your legislator. Call them. Make an appointment. Try to go in and speak with them. Here's the way you can make change. And that's what LIBRE does, is just really activate our community to do something about.
So I'm sure when you talk to the people you represent about the challenges and the hurdles and obstacles in business, you kind of gave it away. You mentioned regulation.
Yes.
I'm guessing that regulatory reform is a banner item for you guys. Is that the case?
Correct. REINS Act, if people don't know what that means, that is, departments and bureaucrats making decision, and not you, the legislature.
At the department level.
At the department level.
Mm-hmm.
And which increases costs, which increases taxes, right? So in the end, we're losing. And many times the legislator is blamed for it, but they didn't make the decision for it, right? So we need to roll that back. We need to be able to put it back in our legislators' hand to make those decisions. They can make, I believe there's a threshold, it might be 100,000, I have to look at my paperwork, but there is a threshold where they can make some of those decisions. But when it comes to, just putting regulations, it's just become so cumbersome.
Yeah.
That it is a barrier for every American, every Pennsylvanian to open their business. So it's a very important issue that we need to address.
Yeah, we've lost in Pennsylvania about 300,000 people in the last 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
To states, I always say, states with greener economic pastures. And the regulations, just the sheer amount of regulations, the permit delays, and the nickel and diming that our departments, as you point out, do to our businesses. And imagine an entrepreneur that just started up.
Mm-hmm.
You had shared with me that a lot of the people you represent have an entrepreneurial spirit. That first year or two is pretty tough to get going.
Yes.
In fact, the numbers on them surviving isn't too great, but they can't afford to be nickel and dimed.
Correct. Just imagine if you want to, cut hair, barbershops, I think it's like $1,000 or so just to get started. And you have to go through all this licensing and so forth. And so there's just barriers to opportunity that we need to look at and address. Our focus is Latino community because nobody's asking them, and we're asking them, and we're giving them a vehicle to make change.
Yeah. Well, you have the pulse of the Latino community. What do they say about energy in Pennsylvania? That's a topic that transcends groups. We could harness almost unlimited natural gas, coal, oil, potential nuclear. Yet the governor's plan would drive costs up even more, and it would essentially apply a tax onto every household in the state. Where do Latinos stand on energy policy in Pennsylvania?
Well, we want to unleash our own energy, that's for sure. But our businesses are telling them that they're getting crushed. They're getting crushed by the energy costs that it's on their bottom line, So that's what we're hearing. We're hearing that from the community last year was all about the inflation, so it hasn't stopped. They still feel that crush. I just got my energy bill. It's insane.
Yep.
And so, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. We have to roll back this Reggie bill. We didn't vote. No, we didn't vote for that. It was done by executive order. And again, when we have to go back to our legislators about these issues and allow them to hear from their constituents so they can make a good decision.
Yep. So lightning round question here. We obviously had the governor give his budget address here a couple weeks ago. That budget address declares a 7.5% increase from last year, which is good for $3.57 billion more. Down the pike, the Independent Fiscal Office projects that we're going to be in debt. So what are your initial reactions to the budget proposal?
Well, we have to live within our means. In our households, we have to live within our means in the government. And we know that this budget is too much and it's a fairy tale. And the people, they're waking up to this because we're making sure they understand.
Mm-hmm.
At least the Latino community, we're out there, we're helping them understand the economics of spending.
Yep.
That's all we talked about last year, and it resonated. We're a nonpartisan organization, and we're center right on our policies, and people know what makes sense. Mm-hmm. They know when they can't put food on the table. They have to make decisions, hard decisions, whether to get gas to go to work or get the dinner. You know, mm-hmm. These are real issues. People living in hotels, the homeless is up. Yeah. This budget was not within our means for Pennsylvania, and I hope the House will, make that work better for us, the people.
Yeah, well, I for one will continue to fight reckless spending. She is Jennie Dallas. She's the strategic director of the LIBRE initiative in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Jennie, thanks so much for joining.
All right, thank you, and thank you everyone for hearing me.
This has been Straight to the Point. Visit repjod.com/mypodcasts.